Honor does it again, making a 2025 flagship that's just gonna please just about anyone, even though it largely looks exactly like the Magic 7 Pro. The Magic series rarely gets a big design change every few years, and the likes of the 6 and 7 still look pretty good. The Magic 8 Pro retains those good looks, and it's just shedding some weight this time. Depending on the color you choose, you get either a fiberglass plastic or glass back that's all nice and shimmery and doesn't leave a trail of fingerprints when you hold it without a case. Not that you can't even find a case for this. It's taken a refinement approach rather than an innovation, and I feel like the Magic 8 Pro is just working on improving itself over at least a lot of consumer feedback from about the last 2 years. Before I carry on with this video, I just want to say that I'm from Malaysia, so I'm getting the global variant, which means 7100 milliamp battery, and the two main configurations in my country is the 12 plus 512 gigs with 16 gigs and 1 terabyte. Oh, and it's UFS 4.1, which is really fast in terms of storage speed. Now, durability is a strong point for the Magic 8 Pro, with a really robust body similar to the X9D, with up to an IP69K rating and a nano crystal shield glass for impact protection. Just like every other Honor video I've ever made, don't toss this around and use it as a melee weapon. It's not really effective. Just don't damage it on purpose to prove a point. It's good for accidents and mishaps. That's all. Okay? You'll still be experiencing the same rounded corners with a quad curved 6.71-inch OLED panel that's always one of Honor's top selling points. It goes up to 120 Hz and still features industry-leading pulse width modulation dimming tech that goes up to 4320 Hz. 6000 nits, yeah, you're gonna have a bloody good time staring at your content out in the sun. Blacks are inky, colors are vivid, and you can customize it in the settings to however you like. And it will still look great across all viewing angles too. Well, as a camera phone, this is as good as it gets from Honor right now. So there's 50 megapixel sensors all across the board, with the telephoto being the strongest at 200 megapixels, offering up to 3.7 times of optical zoom. And these are all cult night cameras too, which means it's promising lots of excellent low light performance with lots of nice excellent detail and good HDR to keep shadows from artifacting everything else in the dark and all the lights from being blown out. That's a pretty bold claim. A lot of camera phones out there right now are just trying to be the best in low light, and that entails a lot of technological workarounds on a software and a hardware level. The best thing that Honor has done this year is actually the side button, which acts as the shutter button, as well as a customizable AI button outside of the camera app. You can actually slide across the buttons to activate zoom. It's a feature that lots of smartphones have already done these days, but the real gem is actually you're able to press lightly on the shutter button to start a pre-fire autofocus just like a real camera, and when you press it deeper, it captures the image. And even the likes of the Oppo Find X9 Pro, which I also have, also has a shutter button, but it doesn't have a pre-fire autofocus. And no, this is not being petty. This is actually a very useful feature that people should already have, and they've already implemented the tech and a hardware button. So why aren't other phones with shutter buttons doing this? I don't know. But on the Magic 8 Pro, it's implemented really well, and I'm definitely a big fan. When it comes to image quality, expect excellent details all across the board with good highlights and really tame sharpening. Colors are good, but the real fun comes from the film simulations and Accord presets in portrait mode. It's impressed me in previous generations and continues to do so here too. Ultra wide is also really decent. Again, we see tame sharpening that preserves the image, and HDR has done a good job keeping lights from blowing out and shadows from creating artifacts and noise, though it is not exactly free from them either. Portraits are amazing as always, with excellent subject separation and clarity, giving the Accord filters and film simulations plenty of headroom to showcase their thematic colors. Apart from well-chosen hardware specs and a well-tailored software system, the Magic 8 Pro does have a lot going for it because it's really, compensating all over the place. It's doing so well that it's got like a really good built-in gimbal inside, and it's achieved some certification where it's just as good as a camera's IBIS sensor, particularly Sony, and which means the OIS here is excellent. And I've given that a shot in some street photography, and it does pretty well, and combined with motion sensing, you're able to capture fast-moving objects with absolute precision and pretty decent image quality. Though I would say that motion sensing actually does reduce image quality because it's just how it works, and it's trying to compensate in other ways by prioritizing motion over image clarity. That's a choice that you have to make. And if you want my suggestion for using motion sensing, I definitely recommend you to use it in really good daylight conditions, because you're going to see a lot of noise for some reason. Because I've always assumed that motion sensing meant it's going to increase the shutter speed and also bump up the ISO in the process to compensate and just become a very good sports mode. But it's a combination of that with some AI smarts, which is constantly anticipating the operator's shooting intent. So it's going to be capturing several frames across the board and picking out the best and sharpest one and enhancing it in the process. So that's something for you to take note of. The Magic 8 Pro is actually living up to its promises by delivering excellent low light performance, but I have to say that it's actually only limited because of its sensor size. Because if you know, it's not just about pushing megapixels, it's also about sensor size. The bigger the sensor, the more light goes in, and simply the sharper the image. The only thing that I truly am quite sad about here is the trade between physical hardware over software. Because on the Magic 7 Pro, we got a physical aperture set, which is always better than artificial aperture because, you know, everything is just captured live. You open those aperture blades to let in more light and close them when you want to let less light in. And that's working just like an actual camera. And now on the Magic 8 Pro, there is no more variable aperture. A lot of people are actually going to be upset about it, me being one of them, and all because it's in favor of better and stronger AI capabilities. So take that with a grain of salt and take that as you will. Honor, if you do have a chance to listen to this video, please bring back physical aperture. It's something that's really dear to me, and it's giving me a lot of opportunity to learn about taking smartphone photos, which is a lot different from taking photos with a camera, even though it's the same activity, more or less. All right, so now on everyday tasks and gaming. If you're going to be planning on using the Honor Magic 8 Pro as a gaming device, I would totally understand why you might even consider this to be a gaming phone for you, because it's using Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 with plenty of RAM and fast storage. Why wouldn't you, right? And comboed with a large battery with fast charging, it's a recipe to being a great gaming phone. Withering Waves. I played it on ultra high with Vulkan, and I set it to 60 FPS because for some reason the device still isn't supporting 90 FPS. Like I said, it may be, you know, about whitelisting or maybe some driver updates. You're still getting your full near 60 FPS performance. If you're going to be moving from area to area in this open world game, expect the frames to dip, not because of throttling, but because of shader caching. Zenless Zone Zero, my absolute favorite game. At highest possible settings, setting it to 60 frames per second with bloom lighting on, everything just looks and plays great. But when you're playing on dedicated activities such as Hollow Zero, you're going to be getting up to 60 FPS and still upper 50s when you're casting ultimates, which is a very effect-heavy action. Delta Force, I actually did want to try it on 120 FPS and it managed to do so, but I had to dramatically reduce the graphics settings because of its requirements, and you're definitely able to run Delta Force on 120 FPS on this device. Battery life is also quite outstanding here with the 7100 milliamp from the global model. You're going to be getting about 2 days of battery life easily on Magic OS 10, which looks quite okay and a bit more mature now. And if you're a full-time gamer, expect that 2 days to become 1 day. In the world of Android, just increasing battery capacity isn't necessarily going to give you more battery life per se, because you know the optimizations and procedures are just so broad, and these chipsets are just power hungry. You might really just see a gradual battery life improvement in the months to come when better updates push out. And if you just want to charge this back up with the provided 100-watt charger, it's going to be about up to 45 minutes. And if you're going to use the 80-watt wireless charger, it will be 10 minutes more than that, which is pretty good. You know, out of all the Android phones I've used this year, I would say the Honor Magic 8 Pro really leads in terms of battery life because it's just so comfortable to use. and it doesn't really get hot. And I live in a tropical country, which is about averaging as low as 36 degrees going up and upwards to 38 degrees every day. You know, we are smack right near the equator. We are skin burning central in Southeast Asia. So to have these temps and to have everything put in place in terms of overall experience, yeah, I can definitely vouch for it in terms of battery life, because heat is the biggest battery killer. Oh, and fun fact, the USB-C port, yes, good job, Honor. I love this. This is a USB Type-C 3.2, which means display port 1.2. You can connect this to a monitor, because, you know, there are still phones that call themselves flagships out there still using USB 2.0. You know who you are. So this is a good thing. I've always traditionally recommended Magic devices to be an excellent all-rounder phone for people who want to do a variety of things, such as, you know, the typical stuff. You want to take photos, you just want to do your work, you want long battery life, and you want to play games. The Magic series has always traditionally fulfilled all that criteria. It's just that right now, this refinement model is based on the feedback of so many people over at least 2 years, and it's got a lot to show for it. Like, it may not be the best in class in terms of image processing, but it is a pretty damn good camera system. And you get a huge variety of film simulations as well as filters, and you get the exclusive Accord portrait color profiles. I love the shutter button. I love that you can pre-fire autofocus here. It really behaves like an actual camera. The zoom system is very nice and sophisticated right now, even though I've always talked about all these telephoto cameras just using digital zooms and enhancing it with AI. Yes, that's the thing, and unfortunately that's going to be the way forward in terms of the technology, but I would say that the implementation right now is more filmic, more close to realism. This time around, nothing is over sharpened. The sharpening is very tame. The colors are really good. I love taking any kinds of photos on the Magic 8 Pro, and you will too if you can just pick this up. Honor's just been maintaining that price point for years. It really depends as well. Magic 7 Pro people will not be buying the Magic 8 Pro. Magic 6 Pro, Magic 5 Pro, Magic 4 Pro, yes, definitely go for it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Zen the Geek, and I'll see you guys in the next video.